This is a First Defense weather alert.
And thanks so much for joining us here on Facebook Live. Justin Gould and Dakota Hunter with WNY News Now. Talking all things weather, Dakota, there's a lot of snow falling right now in parts of our area. I know we were just looking there at the HD News Now cam a couple of minutes ago, and let me tell you, it is snowy on 3rd Street near whiteout conditions across Chautauqua Lake, and that's causing some trouble for folks who may be traveling on I-86 this afternoon. Maybe you got out of work early trying to beat this snow. Dakota is here, though, ready to tell us kind of where things are and what we are seeing right now.
That's right, Jay. And what you're looking at behind me here is a First Defense Doppler. And again, the snow bands right now are not especially as organized. What's happening here is we have a northwest wind. And when we have a northwest wind, we don't get one single band of lake effect. We actually get multiple bands. And you can see the bands have really not, they don't really look as organized on the in-house radar. And I think a lot of this is because they just have not tapped into the full potential yet, but this ultimately will start to intensify a little bit more as we go throughout the night. As a matter of fact, we have another look of this on the HD radar, and you can see here that this is the lake effect snow bands that have been coming through, and we'll zoom this in just a little bit so that you can see here what we're looking at here. Again, when you get into these darker blues, it indicates the heavier amounts of snowfall rates. And again, this is not snow right here. That's that wind farm out there in the northern section of the county. But again, so far we have a little bit of snow that has been falling here. We'll put this in a time lapse here over the past couple hours. You can kind of see how the band has not really jogged north or south. It's been kind of stationary, impacting the southern tier, but it's not been especially as heavy. But however, the Weather Service has told us that a spotter had reported 11 inches of overall snow accumulation at Cherry Creek, and Cherry Creek would be right up in here, and again, that would be in that heavier amount of that band that probably came through a little bit earlier. But again, the bands don't look especially as organized right now, but they ultimately will strengthen up a little bit as we go throughout time. Let's go back to the main graphics system, which is First Defense Doppler, and then again, we'll just take another look at that. And again, this is a zoomed in version here into the southern tier. You can see it doesn't look as well defined on this radar system as it does the high-res radar. But again, you can still see these lake effect bands coming off Lake Erie, impacting the southern tier. And here comes the new scan now. And again, this will continue throughout the night. And again, as we go throughout the nighttime hours, this ultimately will start to strengthen up again and start to produce some more snowfall rates. So Justin, I think we have reports of cars that have actually have skid off the road because of the road conditions.
Yeah, there's been a number of motor vehicle accidents throughout much of the county. Officials reminding folks to please be careful and use caution as you're driving. Now, Dakota, I did want to, with you here still, tell everybody, send us your photos, send us videos, do it safely, of course. Hunter's WX is honestly probably one of the best ways to get it to us. If they send it to us through you on Twitter, that's one of the best ways. And then if they want to send it to our Facebook page as well, if you're on Facebook, that is another great way to send it to us. So I will take things from here, Dakota. Lots of snow falling in our area, so just want to try to keep everybody safe, and we'll check back in with you in just a moment for more details kind of on what we're expecting weather-wise. But news-wise, did want to share the latest accident that we posted on our Facebook page. You see here is a vehicle that rolled over off of I-86. New York State Police say that the driver left the roadway due to the weather. Luckily, though, troopers were able to get the driver and both the passenger out of that SUV. They're working to clear that scene right now. It is on I-86 near the Bellevue Road overpass. So if you're in that area, just be mindful that, again, you do have that to deal with. Just a couple of hours ago, a woman was injured in this accident in Sheridan. The woman was driving too fast for the road conditions there, where she lost control and left the roadway. She was taken to Lakeshore Hospital for her injuries. And then earlier this morning, we had this up on our website. number of people involved in this accident, which was by the I-90 on-ramp in Fredonia. Police say that the glare from the roadway caused problems, causing the drivers to collide. Both drivers were taken to Brooks Hospital for minor injuries, and police said one of them was ticketed for failing to yield right. So again, if you have any photos or anything like that, go ahead and send them to us here on WNY News Now. I know we've been getting a lot of response and a lot of feedback from people. Matt Seekings, he's chiming in here. He says Newton Street is very slippery right now, and cars are having a hard time to get up the hill. And you know, Dakota, that's one of the biggest things, I think, for folks in the city of Jamestown anyways, is when you're navigating around the area, you hit a lot of those side streets that maybe aren't plowed as well as one would think. I know our producer is pointing to the camera on top of the Seneca Allegheny Resort. This is over I-86, pointed, I believe that would be pointed east.
Yes, that's pointed eastbound. Yes.
There's a ton of snow falling there, Dee, and I mean, really,
And again,
a lot of that is, probably very localized part of the band. I know on First Defense Doppler, we have that zoomed in there for you. So, I mean, it looks like just kind of that section of right where that camera is where that snow's falling.
Yeah, so probably what you're looking at is probably this little snow area right here that's north of Salamanca. Of course, the camera, just to let you know where it is, it's actually on top of the Seneca Allegheny Casino, and that would be right about here. That's where the casino actually is. So the camera would be right here. It's pointed back looking this way. So it's probably one of these bands right in here that you're looking at. Again, on First Defense Doppler, it doesn't look as intense as it actually does, and that's probably due to the color table that we're using here. But again, you can see here this lake effect snow continues across the southern tier, and it will be throughout the day today, and especially tonight as it really starts to strengthen up. And again, all of this is basically hooked up in tandem. All the Great Lakes are hooked up in tandem, and we have that northwest wind feeding from the Souris region, which is creating these multiple bands. It's not one single band, it's multiple bands, and that's what often happens when we have a northwest wind aloft. So here's the graphic system. So again, just to break it down a little bit for you, kind of what we're looking at here. So pretty much the threat level is high, obviously, for this event. So the winter storm warning continues now until 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Now, according to the newer model data, it's trying to make this lake effect band dissipate before 6 o'clock. So if it does, there's a chance this warning will be canceled before then. And definitely heavy lake effect snow is possible here as this band intensifies. So here we go with the computer modeling. You can see here, this is the in-house model that we run. And you can see here, it's showing that band starting to strengthen up a little bit. Again, the teal to darker blues indicate the heavier amounts of snowfall rates. That continues throughout the night tonight and then lasting into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's morning commute is going to be slippery because of the snow, and definitely the winds will still be up. We're going to be looking at winds 15 to 30 miles an hour with gusts 35 to 45 miles an hour. So that's going to blow a lot of that snow around. So again, that's going to be an issue for the morning commute. Tough go. And then as we go throughout the afternoon, the snow band starts to weaken off and then ultimately starts to dissipate as we go throughout the afternoon. So additional accumulations. This is what we're looking at here. Now, I think in general, 8 to 12 inches, lower elevations. Now, keep in mind, that's through tomorrow night. This actually goes until 8 o'clock tomorrow. Not all of this is going to fall today. I know there's been some there's been some questions about that. This is not all going to fall this afternoon. This is going to be through tomorrow night. So again, probably about 8 to 12 inches lower elevations. Obviously, as often is the case with lake effect, the lakeshore areas don't get as much. Once you rise up into the hills, it squeezes the moisture out of those lake bands. And again, that's where we could see 13, 14 plus inches. Some of the computer guidance has been trying to pinpoint over 18 inches. And actually in Cherry Creek already, I told you earlier that there's already been 11 inches measured in Cherry Creek. So this number might actually be a bit too low. So again, we'll see where we go with this depending on where those heavier bands set up. But 8 to 12 lower elevations, more than 12 inches on the highest hills right near the Chautauqua Ridge, as often is the case where they see the heaviest amounts of snow. And let's take a look at the Quick Solution 7-day very quickly here. So again, 23 tomorrow. Temperatures won't budge much from tonight, 22 to 23. Look at Friday. Jay, can you believe this? We're going to struggle to hit 20 on Friday.
That's so cool.
The average high this time of the year is 31.
I know. I was happy with the warmth, but I knew it had to come to an end.
Yeah,
I knew it had
as
to come
often
to
is the case, the January thaw. And we'll be down to 11 Friday night. And let me scooch my computer out of the way so you can see the remainder of the 7-day here. And again, 20s return for the remainder of next week into early next week. And even though we'll be right around average next Tuesday, it's still going to be cold. This is a wintertime pattern that we're finally in. And winter has finally returned. So no more sunshine and 50s for the foreseeable future here. So again, that winter storm warning continues for the southern tier until 6 o'clock tomorrow night. And again, a lot of that heavier snow is going to fall later this afternoon, this evening, and then into tonight as the snow bands really start to strengthen up here. So, Jay, do you have any late breaking information on your side?
No, just saying hello to Dawn. Hello, thank you for being here with us. Heather says hardly nothing in Brockton, and I know that was the case. We had a viewer who was driving, who called the newsroom a little while ago, driving, I believe, in Irving. Yeah, that's correct. Thank you. In Irving, and he said there really wasn't much going on there either. So saying hello to Kathy, to Matt, as we mentioned earlier, to Christine. So thank you all so much for joining with us. If you have any questions beyond the length of this 12-minute broadcast, go ahead and shoot us a message on Facebook. I know, Dakota, you're always so happy to answer those. So, or they can even message your.
My fingers are tired to the bone from typing over here.
You have a weather Facebook page as well, right?
Yes, I do.
So
essentially, my Facebook page is essentially the same as my Twitter. It's Hunters WX. You can just put that into the Facebook search bar, and my page should come up. You can give that a like. Also, follow me on the Twitter at Hunters WX. I'm actually more active over on Twitter than I am on Facebook, but I do try to be active on both platforms. And also follow our Snapchat as well. That's something that we got going just recently. So
yeah, WNY News Now on Snapchat. Dakota and I do a little behind-the-scenes look every day. So really cool, awesome. Dakota, thanks for being here. Of course, we'll continue to monitor stuff all night long here on WNY News Now.
I won't be sleeping tonight. So.
Our special weather alert coverage. We return you now here on Facebook Live, or if you're watching on our 24-hour streaming network, we return you to the News Now at noon and HD News Now Camp Loop. See you tomorrow for News Now at noon.